This episode of Midco Sports Magazine is presented by Shields and Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Hello, welcome again to Midco Sports Magazine. 3 great stories coming up this month about lasting connections. We will take you to Durham, North Carolina, and have some fun with the fact that every state in the nation is well represented in the student body at Duke University, except South Dakota. And a story of friendships started by the release and the return of a special set of balloons. But first we go to St. Cloud, Minnesota, and a freshman there who has overcome a lot in his life, and the struggle to keep it going is something that he wrestles with every day. Here's David Brown.
There's a difference, as plain as the eye can see. There's a challenge, as plain as the eye can see. And there's a reality, as plain as the eye can see. What you don't necessarily see is a burden. Not in the sense that Davon Berry doesn't have one, but in the sense that an invisible weight is both strengthening him and holding him back.
Life for me was always dealing with adversity.
Davon was born near Atlanta, Georgia, with cerebral palsy, a movement disorder that's forced him to use a walker or wheelchair to get around. Growing up, it was sports that inspired him, the idea that he could achieve what others assumed he couldn't.
I just like the physical aspect of it, and if you think about a man, having the ability to stand up against adversity, and you're talking about sports, sports teams, you have to win. So that's dealing with adversity, and with my life, things I had to go through, sports took care of that for me.
Football was Davon's first love, but when he was 12, he had a hard time trying to convince others just to let him on the field.
At that age, I had to persuade my mom to have a chance to even go out there and advocate for me. I let her know that, either I'm disabled or I'm regular. And, if you're gonna treat me like I'm not regular, like I'm regular, so you're gonna have to give me the opportunity that every other regular person has, and that is participating in things like sports and everything else.
Davon went on to join the varsity team at Hampton High School, where coaches and teammates tried to create a healthy and welcoming environment. But all along the way, there were some who saw his inclusion as nothing but charity, and that he didn't truly belong.
Sports gave me a reason to keep going, but the things that were said to me made me want to commit suicide. The adversity, dealing with the naysayers and doubters, that's always our everyday thing for me, and how do I get over that? I just grind and keep my head low and just by my actions and just go out there and do it.
A positive attitude and a deep commitment to his faith helped Davon stay on track, and his determination caught the attention of college coaches who had not only seen him play football, but also wrestle.
Let's go, Bear!
I just had an opportunity to watch a video of him. I was really intrigued by the way that he competed for the situation that he was dealt with, and at that time I reached out to him, got to know him a little bit, really liked him as an individual, and at that time he became very interested in us as well.
St. Cloud State is arguably the best wrestling program in Division II. As the 2015 and 2016 national champions, head coach Steve Costanzo knew Davon could add something that isn't necessarily measured by numbers.
I want to get our guys to another level, although you think, winning a national championship, we've reached the pinnacle in Division II wrestling, but really there's another level that I'm looking for out of the life skills that our guys have.
Steve was able to show me that he wanted me here. And that's something that I knew that was going to be bigger than 2 national titles.
Davon received a scholarship from the Huskies and moved to St. Cloud, Minnesota in the fall of 2016. But the transition has not always been easy. For all of the camaraderie a team can foster, being treated like one of the guys also means being judged just like everyone else.
We hold him to a high standard. We always want him to come in here and get better.
I just tried my best to make him feel normal. If he comes in late to practice, which he occasionally does because of his situation, while I'm aware of it as well, that it could be difficult getting through the snow from getting to class from over here. At the same time, I want an explanation from him. You know, why are you late? What's going on? And our guys need to see that as well, that every one of these individuals on this team is treated equally.
I make sure that I make no excuses about my different ability, because having a different ability is unique.
Aside from the occasional tardiness, Davon's also had to grapple with competing at the collegiate level. In a recent match, he won a flip for position. Austin Gorgon, a senior who's taken Davon under his wing, told him to be on top. But when Davon asked to be taped up, he gave away that advantage.
4. Bridge! Fight! Keep fighting, D! Belly out! Belly out, D!
And that's one rule that I was trying to emphasize to him, is that when he takes injury time, it's the other guy's choice. And during that match, we got the flip, and I wanted to put him on top because that's where he can score points. And he said that he needed tape.
I actually thought I was going to slip, and that's one of the, regardless if I slipped or not, that's one of the things I got to learn. That you cannot do that in college, and you cannot do that in a match, and sometimes you just need to listen. And that was a learning moment for me.
On one hand, Davon is showing his teammates that no matter what you're dealt, anything is possible. But on the other hand, inspiration can only go so far. The burden of motivating others while also being judged just like any other wrestler is a paradox Davon is still trying to grasp.
I haven't been successful with winning yet, but each match I am getting better at, learning the different aspects of moves and where to take and where to go and like what move to hit.
He knows that he's not the best wrestler in our room. We've got a lot of quality in this room, but he wants to be the best that he can be as an individual.
And in the end, that may be all that matters. Davon sees the big picture, and he understands wrestling will not become his career or define who he is. But if the impression he leaves is that of a champion, then the score will never matter.
If your ambition is to win, you can't throw in the towel. Even though you may have naysayers and non-believers, and having that ability to fight through adversity makes you a strong person. I have thought multiple times just giving up, but I know that, this is not only for me, this is to inspire somebody else.
And here's David Brown, and a great story, great kid. And we saw him play football and wrestle, and he can play about any sport he wants, right?
Yeah, he's played wheelchair basketball, and actually he's into track and field. One of his favorite events is the shot put. You saw he has a lot of upper body strength. He's actually hoping to qualify for the shot put in the Paralympics in a couple of years. All
right. What is he studying? What does he want to do after college?
Well, academically, he's very inclined. I think that's part of the reason I personally think he's able to deal with sort of the pressure of being an inspiration while not necessarily being the best wrestler. He's in the honors program at St. Cloud State, wants to get into sports broadcasting, wants to get into our field, and he's also writing a couple of books about his life story.
Very cool. Thanks a lot. David Brown. Up next, a different kind of college sports story. Every state in America, except one, has a freshman at Duke University. Guess which state does not?
Midco Sports Magazine on Midco Sports Network is presented by Shields. and Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Welcome back to Midco Sports Magazine. Back in November, Max Jensen went along with the Augustana University basketball team on their trip to play at Duke University. And in the process, he uncovered a little-known secret about the disconnection between the Dakotas and Duke.
Duke University, one of the most prestigious universities in America. An extremely selective process brings the best and brightest from all over the world to this campus in Durham, North Carolina.
These students now, they're so much more accomplished, they're so much more interesting, they're doing so many more things than when I went to high school. There's no comparison. They're so involved and they're so ambitious in a really good way.
According to the admissions office, next year's freshman class, the class of 2020, started with 28,000 applicants. And after admitting only 10% of those applicants, the new kids on campus will come from 70 countries and 49 of 50 states. The one state not represented, the Mount Rushmore state of South Dakota.
That's a disappointment to me.
Christoph Gutentag is the Dean of Undergraduate Admissions at Duke. He's held this position for 25 years and has seen somewhere between 600,000 and 700,000 applicants to the university. Gutentag says there are about 8,000 high school graduates from South Dakota per year. If you break that number down to how many will continue on to a post-secondary institution, those that will choose to go out of state, and then a highly selective college, the number of people even applying from South Dakota is much smaller than other states.
It's an interesting problem. We receive applications from South Dakota, and we admit some students. We don't admit a lot of students from anywhere, right? I mean, our admit rate last year was just over 10%, right? So it's selective, but we admitted some terrific students from South Dakota, and I was actually just checking. They each chose to go somewhere else, to schools like Duke.
14,832 students roam the campus of Duke University this year. Only 5 of them will come from the Dakotas.
I've already made it clear to my staff that we need to do a better job of enrolling students from South Dakota, South Dakota. And the problem is that there are about 4 states, North and South Dakota, Wyoming and Montana, where if we're enrolling students from 48, 49 states, the ones that are missing, always going to be in that 4. So that's my goal is to get incoming first-year students from every one of those states.
But Duke has a not-so-secret recruitment tool that gives them an advantage over many others.
All my life, I loved Duke basketball, and so from there, it was kind of just this idea in my head that I love Duke, but didn't really think of going there. And then in high school, my mom kind of encouraged me to go for it and apply, and sure enough, I did, and then I got in. So here I am, and I've loved it so far.
Brady Graber is in his senior year at Duke as an economics major. He graduated from Roosevelt High School and is currently a video coordinator for the men's basketball team. He is hoping to catch on with an NBA front office once he finishes his degree. He sees that the Midwest is underpopulated at his school and says there are things that can be done to raise interest from the Dakotas.
I think outreach could be improved quite a bit, and even if it's as simple as having me go talk to people at Roosevelt or Skype me in for a city session or whatever it might be, I think there needs to be more outreach as far as you're from Sioux Falls, but we want you to come to Duke.
Graber came to Duke. His other option was Kansas, another prestigious basketball program. But he says he's glad he chose to be a Blue Devil.
It's a very, very big change in your life. Obviously, you're going across the country, you're leaving your friends, you're leaving where you grew up. But part of that was really appealing to me because I think that's kind of how you challenge yourself and grow.
Dean Gutentag is very aware of his athletic program and the visibility it gives the university.
When you see someone like Coach K be coach of the Olympic team for several times and the Olympic team wins a gold medal with him as a coach in Beijing, right? The impact that has on just people beginning to think about us is immeasurable.
On the local level, Gutentag says the lack of interest in Duke from North and South Dakota high school seniors can be fixed. He says having admissions officers in the state creating relationships with schools, as well as guidance counselors and teachers creating conversation, could leave a lasting impression.
This isn't some unapproachable school a couple of thousand miles away. These are real people, and they're interesting, and they're interested in us.
Only time will tell if those recruitment tools will work out for our Midwest students. But Dean Gutentag says, give the university a chance.
It's not the right place for everybody, but it's the right place for some people, and we want those students and their families to know, yeah, I ought to go to Duke.
And joined by Max Jensen. And first of all, for you, this was kind of a bucket list trip to go to Duke, wasn't it?
I think any basketball fan would love to go to Cameron Indoor. I mean, just the history that facility has, and then the teams that Coach K has put on the floor. It's a basketball lover's dream to go there.
Yeah. And for a kid from the Dakotas, there's obviously barriers, geography, culture maybe, to being a student at Duke, but there's also quite a bit of this.
Yeah, it's pretty spendy to go to Duke. Just over $51,000 for tuition alone. You add room and board and a few other things, and you're looking about $70,000 to go there for 1 year.
Ouch. All right, thanks a lot, Max Jensen. Up next, a memorial that floats on the breeze, falls to earth, and when found, forms a friendship.
Midco Sports Magazine on Midco Sports Network is presented by Shields and Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Welcome back. Our producer Josh Muntz put together this next story. It's about a young man gone too soon, a grandmother keeping his memory alive, and a man in Minnesota who finds a friend when an invitation falls from the sky.
It's like another year has gone by. And I guess I'm just so thankful that I still have this day with him. It's Michael's birthday today, and this is the 9th year that I've done this. I tie a birthday card on the balloons, and then on the inside I write a note. I say a little bit about Michael. I put my name and my address and my telephone number in the card, and ask if they would please get in touch with me. And we release his balloons, go into heaven, so he has a happy birthday. The first couple years was really hard. I would cry, but now it's just, I feel like it's my special time with Michael. Michael's really special. He was born with a cleft, and he had his first surgery when he was 6 weeks old, and he endured so many surgeries, growing up, and was always the bravest little boy you've ever seen. And I think it made Michael special. If anybody was bullied, he was always there to stop the bullying. There just was nothing you could say against Michael, He had so many friends, and everybody loved him, and he was just a great kid. Michael passed in June of 2007. He was killed in an automobile crash at 19. It was just such a total shock for the whole family. It's just, it was this can't be. The only thing we could conclude is God took him early because he needed him. He needed him more than, I guess, than him being here on earth. When we released the first ones in Hudson, those were found in Sioux City, near Sioux City. And then after that, I've always released them here. The second one was found in Wagner. The third one was found in Tacoma, so that really went south. And the last year was found in Slayton, Minnesota.
At this time of the year, we're doing a lot of repairing the shoulders to make sure the height is up. So like we're doing today, we got the sanders on, and you're just making sure everything's level for before winter starts. I was coming into the pit and I seen something flicker right in the back of these grove trees here, and it caught my eye. And when I got there, I seen these balloons fighting in this tree trying to get out, and I thought, hey, there's something on them balloons. I didn't know exactly what it was, so I got out, walked over, checked it out, and I looked at the card and it said, please open. She goes, where are you at? And I go, well, I live in southwest Minnesota. I says, I'm working in our gravel pit, and I says, we're by Slate. And she goes, you know how far these things went? And I go, I have no idea. Then she told me where she was from, and she goes, yeah, we just released them yesterday. What's the odds of someone finding balloons with a card on it? And then second of all, I thought, what's the odds of me finding this card? It never really hit me until her and I talked more like the second time. And then, I tell you what, I'm a pretty good sized guy, but it put tears in my eyes, I'll tell you that. Oh, I think every time somebody finds one of these cards, Michael's got another friend. And I believe that with all my might. Anymore, very seldom in the news or on TV or anything like that, you're always hearing bad things. It's kind of nice once in a while to hear something that has a happy ending, you know, that something good comes from it. And I think Ann spreads a lot of love to more than just Michael. So, it made a difference in my life.
Thanks for watching. You can find every episode of Midco Sports Magazine on YouTube.
This has been Midco Sports Magazine, presented by Shields and Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.